because I think it comes up quite often in my practice that people feel very anxious, and I think we all can relate to it, feeling anxious when there's some sort of interpersonal disruption. If there's some sort of, it could be in a friendship and someone walks out of the conversation, leaves the conversation abruptly. It could happen when you bump into someone who you don't have a relationship with anymore, and so there's that sort of, I guess it could happen if we're at home and we act out in a way, like we have a tantrum or whatever to our family, and then we have to, we might be left with these feelings after, these kinds of anxious feelings, or basically it could even happen in a session as therapists when something feels off. You've said something or it didn't go quite where you wanted it to go in a session, so you left it at the end. So when things kind of get left in a place where I guess it could stir up our attachment, our feelings around attachment, meaning, have we broken something? Have we disrupted something? Are we going to get rejected, abandoned? What have I done? And often, when we're left with kind of feelings like that, and our nervous system gets triggered, we can either, become angry, we can become sort of in our fight response where we sort of blame the other person, like, that was rude, or that was a really strange way, blaming the other person. Or it could be that you don't want to be there. So you see someone that you ended things strangely with, and you kind of just want to like run away. You don't want, or you want to just kind of leave the scene of the crime, or leave the scene, like, if you've been upset about something and angry with everyone, and then you might want to just like leave the room, leave the house. So that's like an avoiding, runaway, flight response. Or we can also have a third type of response, which is trying to fix it. So someone ends a conversation abruptly and walks to the other corner of the place. You might have like an intense sense to try to fix what just happened, that disruption, that disrepair, and try to kind of get that back together. So fix it, make it better, make them okay, make sure they don't hate you. Okay, so that kind of third response is quite a common one that's not often talked about. It's called the fix-it response. And I think that how we know that we're having that kind of response is that when we try to fix something, when we're in that state, we may think we're trying to repair it, but there's a few qualities of that kind of state that we need to become aware of to know what that is, because where I'm going with this is that is not probably the time to try to repair something. So what can happen when we're fixing something is that it's like it could be we could have a feeling in our body that something just doesn't feel right and we don't like it, and we want to get rid of that feeling of anxiety. So it can come from like, if you're feeling sort of shocked or cut off or sort of disturbed, or it's under something under you, that thing got under your skin and you can't stop thinking about it, that when you go to try to fix something, you might accommodate to that person, you might put them first, you might not be able to get out your side of the story, you might be hyper fixated on whether they calm down or not, you might find yourself shaking a little bit, shaky, and fixing something's not always going to repair something. I think that's a really important distinction I want to make. So when we really want to repair something, and there has been a disruption in, because when you have two healthy cells and you have a disagreement or there's some sort of conflict, that's 100% normal and healthy. And it doesn't mean that things, you might get into a disagreement or things got heated, or, you felt some strong feelings and it got left feeling uncomfortable. And repair it comes with a place where our brain is in a calmer place. So instead of like being triggered from the nervous system, we've probably practiced, we've been able to think through it. We've been able to understand and validate our point of view, and then we can probably understand where they're coming from. So there's more clarity involved in repair. And compared to fixing something where, you may end up feeling more resentment after, or you might have betrayed yourself, or you're still feeling, unresolved around it because it wasn't quite what you wanted. You did it for the other person or for the attachment to restabilize. You may leave you in more of, if you've heard of imposter syndrome, it's like you feel like you weren't quite your authentic self. It came out of fear. Whereas the repair afterwards should involve like mutual acknowledgement. It should feel like you can actually understand and stay on your own path. Like you feel like you can understand where you were coming from a deeper, authentic place where you really have a little bit more compassion for yourself and your response, and therefore where they're coming from and their response. So you get more clarity, and it involves more recognition and acknowledgement, and also that will lead to reconnection. So those are the kinds of qualities that come with repair versus trying to fix something. And so I guess if I'm going to leave you with a few ideas, it's that when we do settle down from a disruption, it's really important to wait and process it before going back to repair to repair the disruption. And in the end, your bond will probably be stronger. If not, you'll feel more sense of closure. Okay, so thank you.